do. It's a little getaway with you.
Okay, good evening, Mzansi. Welcome to TrendingSA right here on SABC3, where we help you escape the norm, and sometimes I glitch in between. Tonight is no different to every other weeknight. We have lined up some interesting guests, the latest stories, and trending hashtags to just ease you into the evening. My name is Alma Smith. If we haven't met yet, it's lovely to have you. Helping me with the business of today is the awesome twosome, Mable, looking... traditional?
I can't even, listen, I don't even have a comeback today. We opened the show with my favorite song of 2020, Mikasa, I love you for that song.
Who did you bribe?
I really do love that song so much. I play it every day, every morning. So I'm happy. I'm a happy chappy right now.
And here with
bribery or an action in kind.
You don't look impressed at all.
Oh, I'm great. I'm wearing polka dots. What more could a girl ask for? I'm happy.
Cruella de Vil.
Let's get into it. So I stumbled upon this tweet, which was literally making the rounds on my timeline. Check it out. All right, so Letohonolo tweeted this. Stealthing. Ayanda and Vuis were in bed after sex. Vuis was very angry at Ayanda for removing the condom during sex.
How, baby? What's wrong?
What do you mean? You remove a condom when we agreed to use it, and you ask me what's wrong?
Calm down, my bebeza. It's not a big deal. The condom was uncomfortable anyway.
You violated me. You didn't ask me if you can remove the condom.
It doesn't make sense that Ayanda and Vuiswa are dating with those different accents, but anyway.
It makes sense. She is slumming it, okay,
So
Mable?
this tweet sparked a heated debate on social media amongst young, experimental, and sexually liberated millennials about the act of stealthing. Stealthing is when your significant other removes a condom during the deed, which is sex, without letting you know.
Or asking your permission, most importantly.
Actually, consent. So Tweeps are arguing whether this constitutes sexual assault, and this is what they had to say. Kunene weighed in with this tweet. Definitely sexual violation, but is it rape? I don't think so. And this is what Usino Enigma had to say. Let's call it what it is. It's rape. She never consented to unprotected sex. Non-consensual sex is rape. There's nothing to think about here.
Now, we've seen on social media people say that they don't think stealthing is quite rape. What would you say makes people view stealthing as a non-violation? There is definitely violation here, but is it rape? That's the question that everyone is mulling over. Where are you on the topic?
I don't see why we should bother making the distinction, because if we're going to talk about consent in this day and age, then it needs to be enthusiastic at every single point of the value chain. It means if you are quarter to hitting the jackpot whilst we're having sex, if I say stop, I'm no longer feeling comfortable, then it means I'm not comfortable and you must stop. And I think stealthing is just such a violation because, number one, depending on who you are, you might not have the money, the resources to go and get the morning after pill, right? I personally don't react well to all these hormonal pills and these kind of interventions. So now I must go and run after the morning after pill because you made a unilateral decision. It is so intense on so many levels. I'm speechless.
For the very first time, and I think it ruptured my spleen. I actually agree.
What?
Yes, I do.
No, wait.
For me, it is rape. If you start doing anything that I don't like during the deed and I didn't consent to, we are now moving to the realm of a sexual violation, and I think it's rape for me.
So what are the motives for stealthing? So in this case, the story of the two people in that tweet
Skin to
series,
skin,
that was the motive.
Yeah.
I think Homeboy decided that his enjoyment supersedes her safety and the need for her to not get an STI or fall pregnant.
Yeah.
And so that is, I think, at the core of this for me. What are the motives of the people involved? If this, to you, is about you only at the cost of me and my wishes.
So hectic, eh?
The 15 South African Film and Television Awards, the SAFTAs, will feature new online content category from YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram content creators. However, TikTok stars have been snubbed. The decision to include this category comes after the SAFTAs committee noted production challenges that were brought on by COVID-19, as well as the growing trend of online content creation. Guys,
does this mean, how does this category actually exist without TikTok?
I'm so befuddled. I feel like somebody does not understand TikTok, and so they're like, say shit. You know, how? Why discriminate between online platforms, especially one that is so insanely
That
popular?
they want money from TikTok.
Okay,
I have
no,
no
hold on.
idea.
I had an epiphany. The problem with TikTok is the plagiarism.
Okay.
So one video on TikTok gets done by 1,000 other people and it becomes a challenge. So to trace back who's the original creator of it and all of that.
Doesn't that happen on Instagram as well, and on YouTube and on Facebook as well?
So
No, but I'm thinking that there's talk shows on YouTube, talk shows on Facebook, and all
I'm
of
going to
those things.
disagree with you there, Maple. Yes, I understand the issue of challenges on TikTok, and that's what we originally knew it for, right? But the universe of TikTok has expanded so incredibly well. And even if it's people who are just like doing like dubbing and there are people that can do them well and the people that just suck at it. Ultimately, being on TikTok and TikToking well is still a skill. I think guys reconsider. We're leaving out a host of talent out there, and there's some young up-and-coming people that are doing such cool
amazing
stuff.
And I feel like it's an audience segment, a young
Very
audience
specialized.
segment that you want to involve in the SAFTA, so that if they care about the SAFTAs, they start seeing all of these other things that are happening on linear platforms like television, and they might be convinced to...
Probably the generation that has also cut the cord, right? Or cut the cable. And so, like you said, they're not necessarily linear. We want them back.
Bring them in, bring them in. Come
Anyway,
on.
just our thoughts. Take it, don't take it. Use it, don't use it. When we come back, we will be joined by a phenomenal woman, former Miss South Africa, author and teacher, Ntandoyenkosi. Kunene. We're talking books. Can't wait. We'll be back shortly.
Okay.
I love this song.
Welcome back. You are still tuned into TrendingSA right here on SABC3. Now, COVID-19 has undoubtedly stirred uncertainty among so many of us. For adults, just navigating through all the information that we need in order to stay informed and educated about this virus can be challenging enough. But what about the kids? They're also trying to understand how this new world works as well. Now, former Miss SA Ntandoyenkosi Kunene and her co-author Thokozani Josini wrote a kiddies book called Corey in the Universe, obviously to help children navigate life through these really unprecedented times. Just take a look at this.
In the year 2020, what we once knew changed forever when the sinister coronavirus attacked the world. Now, 6 children will use their hidden superpowers and come together to protect Mzansi. A heroic tale of good versus evil is told in a brand new book, written in all 11 official languages. Their bravery will determine the fate of a nation.
Give me a chat about books, and I am super excited. Co-author of the book, Ntandoyenkosi Kunene, joins us in studio to talk about Corey in the Universe. Welcome to TrendingSA.
Thank you so much for having me.
Congrats on publishing such a phenomenal endeavor. Really
Thank you
good
so
job.
much. I really appreciate it.
Ntando, I'm curious to, as we mentioned, obviously it's difficult enough for us grown-ups to wrap our minds around living during a pandemic, a global pandemic. What of the kids? So what were you seeing amongst children in your life, perhaps even your own, that told you we need to do something about this and write a book?
I think for me it was when obviously the whole world was, when the whole, I think it was Italy, when it started, China and then Italy, when that whole commotion was happening. I just also felt for the kids in those areas as well, to think, imagine there's so much turmoil in the world and no one is thinking about how is a child taking all of this. Mom is now constantly at home. We don't know for how long, because I think for our first lockdown, which we still are in lockdown, but no one knew what tomorrow held for us. And so we just thought, okay, we want to have something that would that children would be able to understand what's happening in the world, and that's where we came with Corey in the Universe, which is coronavirus in the universe. And it's really just to help kids understand what's happening to the world, and also channel and understand their emotions, because that's so important. And parents, sometimes you find that we neglect our children's emotions.
busy. I'm trying to homeschool you. I'm trying to submit my own deadlines. It's intense.
It's intense, and you find that a lot of kids can see the intensity at home, and they just don't know, how do I address this with my mom? How do I tell her that I'm scared? I don't know. I miss my friends, because you must understand your child or a child's social life is so important for their growing up. So there was none of that at that time.
What I love about this book is that it uses superheroes and kind of feeling empowered.
Yeah.
And then it also tackles themes like grief and death, which are things that, I mean, it's hard enough for us to speak to one another about it, but also speaking to kids on those topics and those themes sometimes is even harder. How did you know what to take and what to leave and how to approach that?
I think that comes with my background as a teacher.
Sure.
I've taught in many schools across Johannesburg, and you get to interact with so many kids that come from different backgrounds. So with that, you get to understand things that their parents possibly wouldn't, because they'd feel free to tell you, with my mom or my grandmother passed on, and my parents haven't really taken me through that whole process of what is actually happening. So with that, we said, okay, we need to talk about certain topics. We want the kids to feel that they are superheroes, that they also have a part to play during the pandemic. It's not just adults that they have to be told that do this, do that, but also in their personal capacities, they are able to remind their parents to wear a mask, sanitize when they come back from the grocery stores, things like that. And so when we looked at what was happening in the world with people passing away, that's where grief came in as well. We want them to understand. So there's a whole chapter that's dedicated to grief, where we talk about that, because we also understand it's so hard for parents to address death. And I think at first, in the first lockdown, it was better. There weren't so many RIPs as we are seeing now. Now it's terrible. So this book would actually help a mom or a dad, uncle, whoever, to just sit down and be able to read this chapter and take their child through those emotions. So there are superheroes, there's grief, but there's also working together. So they are the superheroes that come up with the plan. I'm not going to tell the whole story.
Okay, don't tell
the whole book.
No spoilers.
But they are the superheroes that encounter a very high standing person in society, and they want to help him and keep South Africans safe.
Well, I mean, let's mention the fact that that high-profile person in society is our own president,
Yes,
Cyril
it is.
Ramaphosa. And, you know, tell me about his own role in the story and why it was important.
Was
to
that
include
always
him in
part
the
of
story?
the Jan, was that always part of the plan? Like, were you always going to include the prayers in the story?
Yeah. At the beginning, when we thought about it, because obviously when you do the character development, you do the family settings, you do what the kids are challenging, then when you look at what's happening in society, who are the key role players in this pandemic? And we saw our president almost every other second week for the first time in I don't know how long. And so it would have been weird not to include him in the story.
In the story.
Yeah, so as you would read it and engage with the book, you'd find even how they meet the president. It's through their interactions at school and whatever, and it's kids from different schools that have now found common ground amongst one another.
And more books on the horizon,
Yes,
maybe
definitely.
Corey and the vaccine, I don't know. In the Lendlela, by the way. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. I think that's the one conversation we were having with my partner about it. To say, we took out this book last year, I think it was the 8th of September, which was International Literacy Day. And now so many things have changed that are possibly not even in the book. So the ending, obviously, it's something that now you're like, oh, maybe.
We need Corey and the anti-vaxxers. We need Corey and the WhatsApp, the people that spread fake news on WhatsApp.
Yes.
We need Corey, and there's so many. You've got Avengers Phase 5 here.
Listen, that was what we wanted. I felt Togozani and I sat down. We're like, you know, it's so sad that sometimes when we look at what our children carry to school or the kind of cartoons that they look up to, it's always things that are not in South Africa. And why don't we create our own superheroes that have our names and that can be celebrated? I mean, one of our characters is in a wheelchair. We've tried very hard to make this book as diverse as possible, to be as inclusive as possible, which is where the languages also come in. So it's just a matter of, we love philosophy for children. So this is our first book, and our many other books are going to be around helping children unpack their emotions, because it's so important. It helps with their growing. It helps with how they interact when they're adults. And we shouldn't neglect how children are feeling, because their feelings also matter.
Wow.
Nntando, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us. We feel validated now.
Yes.
We really do.
Where can you get the book quickly?
You can get the book at www.ethnickids.co.za or .co Africa, and then you can also walk into a CNA store and you can get it there as well. It's nationwide.
So any children's book author worth their salt is always going to be on the Ethnic Kids platform.
Yes.
We love the work that those women do as
Definitely.
well. So thank you very much, Nntando. Really, really appreciate it. Stay with us after the break. We do more. It's on 3 having fabulous conversations. You don't want to miss it.
I am so blessed today. Welcome back to TrendingSA. Keep the conversation going on all our social media platforms. Now, our last guest tonight has captured the hearts of social media lovers with his wickedly funny and impeccable comedic timing, which fuses elements of sports commentary into everyday life. Take a look.
What you gonna do?
Easy choice. We're gonna wash the dishes.
Oh, what?
I'm looking at the conditions. It's screaming out for me to wash. I mean, there's 3 pots, there's about 4 plates, a couple of Tupperware, and just the utensils. I mean, the easy thing is, cause obviously we washed the lunchtime dishes just before, so we cleared up most of the room. So it just makes it easy to wash. And obviously, when you're drying the dishes, you got to pack away as well. I mean, that's unnecessary admin. I don't want to go down that route.
So, besides creating hilarious videos which have taken South Africa by storm, he's a teaching intern, former rugby player, rugby coach. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the talented Kuhle Sonkosi. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. That's a great intro.
Man, I am in love with your videos, and I'm not the sports person over here, but I can actually watch that. So your videos,
I appreciate it.
Your videos seamlessly fuses sports commentary into everyday life. You have managed to convince your brother to be the cameraman and interviewer in those videos. Take me back to the first video that you guys both shot.
The first thing just came obviously of just being at home, and I just got back from getting a haircut, and I thought, you know what, this is a perfect opportunity to, do an interview about this haircut. And then I got home, and then the hard part is trying to convince my brother to be the cameraman. That was the hard part. I think he doesn't find me funny at all. So that was so trying to get him to ask the questions, to be the cameraman. That was the hard part. And then once I'd convinced him, it was just going about finding the questions, and then from there, just the ball got rolling from there.
Actually, say his name now, because you're now famous. Say his name.
It's Taba.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Giving props. I like it. Now, you're a professional rugby coach, former rugby player for the EP Kings. And I'm so curious to find out who you based your characters on, and if you actually have a favorite rugby player that you actually draw inspiration from. Because you've got to be channeling somebody when you do those videos.
It's not necessarily someone that I'm channeling, because I've loved sports all my life, and I love interviews. I've always loved them since I was a kid, and I've seen a lot of bad interviews. So for me, it's trying to do the interviews right. So I'm trying to sort of give my spin on an interview, saying how it should be done. Obviously, I do think Siya Kolisi is one of the persons who does it right. So I do draw a lot from him. Mine aren't as powerful as his, unfortunately. Mine go the comedic route, but most of the interviews, they're just based on my spin on how interviews should be. It's not, and trying not to make it as cliched as some of them are. That's the angle I try to go for.
So you're a teaching intern. I just want to know, a staff room, what has been the reaction? And what has been the reaction of the learners at your school?
Well, I'm a very popular member of the staff room now, that's for sure. I've never been asked so many. I normally sit and nod in those meetings, and I just go about my own business. I don't contribute much. Now in the staff meetings, I've been asked to say a lot more. I have to give my my take on a lot of interactions at school. The kids love it. I think the kids love it more than I do. They every time they ask me, they ask for a shout out. They ask for to mention them. So I think they're the ones asking me where my next video is, and they critique all my videos to make sure they're good. So they technically my coaches now. So I'm actually being coached by them.
Now, you do tackle various topical issues in the skits. I just want to play another video. Let's take a look.
Load shedding's back. What are your thoughts? Yeah, tough day. Obviously, the first things first, I woke up this morning thinking it was Friday and then it was Thursday. So, yeah, that set me back. And I thought, you know what, at least the day can only get better from there. Jeez, I lied. Yeah, load shedding's tough. Obviously now this is about the 945th case of load shedding we've gotten. So it's never, you think we prepared for it, but yeah, it's never easy to take. But yeah, all in all, bad day for the country, but good day for candle makers.
So, have you just taken this opportunity to use humor as a way to just drill down on the things that are affecting us societally? I hope some ESCOM boss, like public enterprises, somebody sees this,
Yeah, I think I've always been a person that tries to see the humor in everything, especially in tough situations. I think, obviously, right now we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in another lockdown. Back to level 3, and it's been a tough start to the year. So, and obviously, load shedding just added to that. I think as a country we're all pretty down, and for me, I use that video, for example, just as my way of trying to cheer up people. If one person saw it and made their day and made them sort of forget about load shedding and sort of brought a laugh to them, then the video did its job. I think that's the main goal of the videos.
Sure. So for you, who do you find funniest or enjoy most? Footballers or rugby players when it comes to, the people that you take your inspiration from? Have you got a preference one way or the other? Rugby, football, maybe cricket, something else?
Definitely rugby. I do enjoy the rugby interviews, especially. My favorite are the halftime ones where the players are tired because then they're not thinking properly.
And the scrunching of the eyes, right?
Yeah. I do enjoy when the players are tired and they have to run on the field and make an interview, because sometimes I do, which is bad. I do pick on the bad ones, and I'm like, oh, that's I got something for my next video. So sometimes I am hoping for bad interviews. Okay, cool. I'm gonna catch this person out and use this for my next video.
Kuhle, we really appreciate you spending time with us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Your Instagram timeline is just absolute heaven for someone who needs a break and a respite from everything that's going on around us. Thanks so much and all the best for the future.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And of course, that's all we have for you tonight. Join us again tomorrow for a special takeover episode that we've dubbed #Tsa Megamania, because the one, the only king of the Mega C, Super Mega himself, will be taking the 4th seat for the entire episode. You don't want to miss the Bova Mania that's about to be unleashed right here at this table on TrendingSA. Good night, everybody.
Whoa, whoa.